but still being a dreamer kind of like restricts me from it's kind of ironic, it restricts me from dreaming.
I want the children that are growing up in the United States to be dreamers also. They're not dreaming right now.
When someone's coming here, more times than not, they're coming because they're trying to get a better situation.
I get a phone call, and my sister told me that they got him. And I said, what do you mean they got him?
Day one, we end a border policy which allows federal agents to snatch babies from the arms of their mothers.
What they want is to turn the United States of America into the United Socialist States of America.
When I heard about America, for me it was like paradise. It was a place where there was no pain, there was no problem, there was no issues.
The beautiful coloring of our country that is happening at a faster pace is creating fear.
USA! USA! USA!
This man who struck these two women, he was deported 8 times.
These incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons.
That's unfair to say someone's a racist because they take a position.
Life is so hard in Haiti or in the country that they had before, they'll take the risk of getting caught. Like, it's almost like all or nothing.
All the data that I've seen indicates that crime is higher in a sanctuary city than in a non-sanctuary city.
There's rules, there's regulations, there's laws.
Like at the end of the day, you know, I'm just like you.
I am you.
I am you.
In the end, we remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.
And welcome back to another edition of The Conversation. I'm New Bretto. We are back. I always call this is Brockton's Breakfast Club. If you're running for office, you got to stop by the New Productions office to be interviewed. So really excited today. We're going to have a lot of great candidates, and we have a good friend of mine, Jubilee member. All right, yes, Jubilee member, Gary Keith. Gary, first and foremost, thanks for coming on The Conversation.
Thanks for having me, Newbie. Thank you very much. And if I may start by saying, like you just said, you know, we've been knowing each other for a while, go to the same church. I know you're of Haitian descent, so I wanted to give you from my family and I, you know, our deepest condolences, man, and, you know, our sincere, you know, for everything that's going on over in Haiti right now, man, you know, for any family members or friends that you might know or something back home, man. So
thank you so much. Appreciate it. Family's good. And actually, my father's over there right now. He's good.
Good.
You know, it was away from where he was at, but nonetheless, you know,
yeah,
it always seems like, you know, Haiti can't catch a break sometimes.
I said that the other day. Haiti just can't seem to catch a break, and we got to do something.
All right.
We got to do something.
Appreciate that. So, Gary, you're running for council at large again.
Yes.
But, you know, just want to back it up. For people who don't know you, you know, who are new to the political game, just kind of talk about who you are, your experience, what do you do? Just kind of explain to the viewers who you are.
Well, I'm Gary Keith Sr. I've been, this is my 5th time running. The first time I ran was 2013. Of course, I came up a little short, but I was then appointed to the planning board and the zoning board, where I served 4 years each on both of those boards to actually gain the experience that I feel of working with the councilor and doing things for the residents and the businesses of Brockton. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, married to my wife for 35 years, 7 children. Our 7th grandchild is due in September.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I have a background in law enforcement and in car sales, and so as a chief negotiator. And I'm just still running right now because I don't feel that we've put the right mix together in our city hall, and I would like to have the honor of actually representing the citizens of Brockton.
So your slogan is experience matters.
Correct.
Okay. So talk about that and what separates you from the other candidates running. Why are you the best candidate?
Well, again, life experiences. I mean, we all have them, even though we have them at certain levels, you know, different levels because of age. But my experiences as far as serving my country, serving in church at Jubilee, raising a family, being on the law enforcement. Basically, I've walked in a lot of shoes. You hear people saying that they've worn a lot of hats. I walked in everyone's shoes, you know. Raising a family of 7, actually 9, counting me and my wife. Everything wasn't good. It didn't matter if I made six figures. I was still broke. Okay, plenty of times, I went to bed hungry. After feeding the family. Rob Peter to pay Paul. I know what it takes. I know what it is to be some of the citizens of Brockton at every level, of whether they're financially secure or whether they basically are just barely making ends meet. I've been there, so I can relate to that more than a lot of other candidates can, that are either young to the point to where they're still maybe living with their parents, or maybe just started out on their own, or whether they're financially secure and have never had to worry about putting food on the table. So life experiences, work experiences, being on the planning board and the zoning board, working with our city council, hearing the problems, running four times before, and having the residents of Brockton and the businesses of Brockton call me to assist them with situations they were going through, that gained me all the experience that I needed. I feel that I need to actually get up and running from day one with the council, whoever the council may be. But I think that sets me apart from the rest of the candidates.
So let's talk about this. And the city council is kind of like the board of directors.
Correct.
Mayor, CEO. How would you work with other city councilors to help bring revenue to the city? Now, it's not you specifically. I know it's the mayor.
Right.
But what would you do in terms of there's a lot of big talk about people getting tax benefits and tax credits, and between the residents and the taxes rising, there needs to be some type of balance. How would you help bring that revenue, that business to the city, for we don't have to feel that tax burden all the time?
Correct. Well, newbie, that's one of my biggest concerns right now with the city. And I've been hearing everyone say that we need to attract new business. But before we go out and attract new business, we need to solidify the businesses that are here in Brockton, trying to make it and to stay here in Brockton. Because every time we go out and get one and we give them the tax incentives, we lose two businesses that are basically not getting the help from the city, and they leave the city. So what did we gain? We didn't gain anything. I say we give that help to the businesses of Brockton right now, okay? Solidify them so that they can withstand the storm when it comes, and they don't leave the city. We just lost J.D. Byrider, okay? Another one that just left the city because of a lease. But the city doesn't step in there. But the thing is that to attract new businesses, first of all, they want to see what's going on in Brockton. I mean, if I was a business looking at Brockton, I would say, you're a wasteland. Your city looks like a wasteland. Why should I come and do business there, okay? And if I reached out to any of the other businesses, the existing businesses, I would ask them, what kind of help do you get from the city, okay? If we go with what I'm talking about right now, then we can use the existing businesses as a reference, okay? If you were coming into town as a business, you say, why should I do business there? And I hand you the CEO of some of the companies that are here and their phone number, and I say, don't take my word for it. Call these companies here. And they say, Brockton is a great place to do business. Okay, that's number one. So I say we start with the existing businesses that we have. Then we can attract new business. But on top of that, the process of getting businesses through the planning board, the zoning board, their permits, the licensing board, and all that things. Our council, to me, no one shows them the way, okay? They say you got to fill out this paperwork and that paperwork, but no one shows them the way. I want to be that counselor. And by the way, I'm retired last year after a bad bout with COVID, so I'm retired. I will be a full-time counselor if elected. And I want to be that counselor to where not only being visible and transparent, but I want to make sure that if you were a business coming into Brockton, I want to walk you through the different departments. I want to make sure I put you in front of the right person, okay, that's going to, and they see my face also there. I'm not leaving you there alone. To where I put you in front of the right person. They tell us exactly what paperwork we need, how it needs to be filled out. We take care of that, and we bring it right back to their hand, whether we time stamp it at all, so I can hold them accountable. Okay, it should not take us 2 years, 2.5 years to open up a new business in this city. I figure 6-8 months tops. Okay, but councilors, and you mentioned about it's the mayor's responsibility to bring in new business. As the council goes, I look at the council as the ambassadors of the city. Okay. Yeah, you have a role to play. This might be what your job description is in writing, but go a little bit above and beyond. Okay. The mayor is the CEO, but there's nothing wrong with saying that, knocking on his door and saying, hey, what can we do to help you? Because we have over 105,000 people now living in the city of Brockton. Okay. That just went up by probably about 10, 11,000 people. Let's step up and help the mayor, whoever the mayor may be. Okay. Let's do a little bit more. Yeah, it's his responsibility, but a little bit of help goes a long way. Okay. And there's enough of the council to do that.
Well, I want to touch upon this. Again, your slogan, experience matters. Change is the big thing the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
With the movement, with Black Lives Matter, unfortunately with the situation with George Floyd, with so much protest, people are looking for change.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're saying experience matters. Are you a change agent?
I am, and because you have to constantly change. The experience, when you have experience, you can change. Okay? Your experience allows you to change, which is how you gain that experience. If you stay one way, you're never looking outside the box. Your vision is not broadened. Okay? Where I have 7 children, I know exactly what's going on with all the age groups and stuff. Okay? I have conversations with my children. Even though I'm one of the older candidates that are running, right? They keep me sharp. Half the kids in Brockton, believe it or not, run through my house. Okay. With 7 kids, I come home, the whole backyard was full, or whatever it may be. And they all have come to me, with their situations, with their problems, or whatever, if they couldn't go to their parents or whatever. I've given a lot of them guidance. I'm looking at some of them now. One is actually running for city council. Okay. There's some that are trying to open up businesses. They have business. They're on the fire department. They're in the school system. But they have all came to me and said, hey, Pops, I'm thinking about doing this. And we have conversations. Okay. And with that, even though they're seeking my guidance, they're also helping me grow to see things from their level. So I don't let my age, I'm not looking at everything from an older standpoint. I'm looking at it from my age point. I'm a wiser standpoint. But they keep me sharp.
Last year was massive protests all over the country, and including here in Brockton, about policing. Mm-hmm. And being able to, really having some type of, they're talking about community oversight boards, body cameras, which I'm a huge advocate for. When I was talking to Commissioner Gross. Mm-hmm. Public safety and defunding police, I guess, is the buzzword. But I don't even think it's necessarily that word, defunding police. How do you feel about that? Because the frustration is that there was a lot of protests, but there wasn't a lot of progress.
True.
So how do you make the protest progress, and what would you do?
Well, first of all, I think that it needs to be mandated that they all have body cams. Okay, everyone should have a body cam, and there's no excuse for it being off. There's no excuse for it being off. To me, that is that's the worst excuse I can hear when something happens. They go, well, the body cam wasn't turned on at that time. That, to me, is an automatic no-no. I believe they need the body cams. There's no defunding of police, first of all. There's no such thing. It's reallocating funds, okay? And those funds that you take, those funds, basically, you can give them to other programs. I'm not in favor of that. I believe that the funding needs to stay in place where it's at, because the police need continuous training. Okay, not training every 5 years. They need training every year. Okay, and there should be a zero tolerance policy as far as the ones that step outside of that training policy. We cannot condone bad behavior. Okay, at the same time, here in Brockton, I don't feel that we still have the problems that a lot of major cities have. I'm not saying that we have a totally all good police department. We have some bad apples too, and we need to weed through them. And like I said, with the zero tolerance policy, bye-bye. Okay, but we need to make it mandatory that they have the body cams, that the training is necessary, and we really need to do that. And I do believe in a citizen review board. Okay, a mixture, not a total citizen review board, but a mixture of both. A citizen and a staff.
I have one last question before I give you time to wrap up. This is actually for one of our youth. They mentioned, about 1,000 kids, give or take, graduate Brockton High. New Heights, Cardinal Spelman. I mean, you could probably close to 2,000 really between all of our schools, Southeastern. So you have, let's just say 2,000 kids who are graduating, who are 18. How do you get them involved? Because sometimes the youth feel like they're not heard. So how are you going to be their voice?
First of all, my children they're all on board with what I'm doing, and they have given me their assistance. Okay, the thing is that you have to actually take yourself, to their age level. You have to take it to them. You have to actually see where they live and what they're going through. You have to be able to relate. Okay, at the same time, you have to be able to communicate with them to a point to where you're listening to them, but you make them feel comfortable with you enough to where they're going to talk to you, first of all. And then you can throw some little things in there, to where some they might gravitate to and some they might not. Like the Bible says, teach it, raise a kid in the way that they should go, and when they get older, they will not depart from it. It's the same thing, basically, as far as you just have to reach out to them. You have to continuously reach out to them, but you have to be there for them. They're going to make mistakes, some of the kids. But, there's a lot of kids that see role models, and even starting with my own kids, when they were coming up, they saw me going to work every morning with a suit and tie on. And I remember my oldest son, who Gary Jr., he said to me one day, probably about 7, 8 years old, he said, when I grow up, I'm going to be just like Dad, wearing a suit and tie. Well, he surpassed Dad, okay? Mostly all my kids have followed me in the business. My kids get up every morning, suit and ties on. But they were young kids also, right out here, with Brockton. They're well known in Brockton. But I also let them be kids, But that's what we got to do. We have to set the role model for them and stuff, no matter what the age group is. You got to let them see that hard work is not going to kill you, And but you have to listen to them. You have to listen to them, and you have to try to bridge that gap between them and meeting them halfway.
Absolutely. So, listen, Gary, we're on a way to wrap up over here, but can you kind of just give your final pitch of why people should have you as one of their 4 city councilors at large?
Well, again, I'm Gary Keefe Sr. I'm running for councilor at large again for the 5th time. My name is the number 4. It's the 4th name on the ballot. I'm running because of the fact that I want the honor to represent you fairly and evenly across the board to all communities, all racial groups that we have here in Brockton. I believe that everyone needs the same representation without any biases, and I want to be that person. The thing is that we've been falling short lately. In the last few elections, we've been falling short on what we have to represent us, and I feel that I'm the best candidate because I don't have a personal agenda on this. It's all about Brockton. I'm pro-business. I'm pro-union. I'm all Brockton at all time, and it's all about you, the residents and citizens of Brockton. I do not use the word constituents because constituents are the ones that vote for you. This isn't about the ones that vote for me. This is about representing everybody that resides or works within the city limits of Brockton, and I want to be your voice with your seat at the table. Not my seat, but your seat. My name is Gary Keefe Sr., and I'm running for councilor at large.